The camera opens on a crowded city street. People rush past, immersed in their busy lives, while Sarah Jones walks through the crowd, her tired eyes scanning the endless sea of faces. She seems to be just another part of the urban landscape, a bit worn out but still pushing forward. Her footsteps are steady, but her pace reflects an inner exhaustion, the kind that comes from doing something you're not passionate about. Sarah wears an ill-fitting blazer and a pair of scuffed shoes, evidence of the long days she spent in a job that has started to drain her. The marketing position at Harris Consulting isn't what she envisioned after finishing college. She had dreamed of being a creative, of traveling the world, making a difference. Instead, she's been stuck in a cubicle, fighting to meet quotas and work under a boss who is never satisfied. She reaches into her purse, pulling out her phone. Phone text, "Don't forget to call me tonight, honey. Love, Mom." Sarah sighs and swipes the message away, feeling the weight of unspoken disappointment. Her mother is worried, always asking about her life, but Sarah feels too disconnected to share what's really going on. Instead, she puts on a smile and walks into the office building. Inside, she greets her coworkers with the same polite smile, trying to maintain some semblance of optimism. But behind the smile is a woman who is quietly losing herself. The fluorescent lights of the office hum overhead as Sarah sinks into her chair. The steady beep of the office printers and the low murmur of colleagues create an atmosphere of monotony. "Good morning, Sarah," her colleague Tina says as she walks past. Tina is bubbly, always enthusiastic, and Sarah can't help but wonder how she manages to stay so chipper. "Morning, Tina," Sarah replies, her voice barely above a whisper. Her boss, Mr. Davis, enters the office, and Sarah straightens up. He's a man in his mid-40s, sharp in appearance, but harsh in demeanor. He walks past her desk without acknowledging her, his eyes scanning the room like a hawk. As always, Sarah feels a subtle sense of inadequacy creep up her spine. Later that afternoon, Sarah heads to a local coffee shop to get some much-needed caffeine. The hum of the espresso machine and the soft chatter of customers provide a brief escape from the rigid world of corporate life. Sarah steps in line, ordering her usual black coffee with a splash of almond milk, and turns to find a seat. As she's walking toward an empty table near the window, she notices a man stumbling near the door. His face is pale, and his breathing seems labored. He clutches his chest with one hand, trying to steady himself on the counter, his face contorted in pain. "Are you okay?" Sarah asks, her voice trembling slightly. She approaches him quickly, concern flooding her body. The man looks up, his face flushed and sweating. I think I'm having a heart attack," he mutters, panic in his voice. Without thinking, Sarah rushes to his side. "We need to get you help," she says urgently. She pulls out her phone and dials 911. As she talks to the dispatcher, the man leans against the counter, gasping for air, his face now a sickly shade of gray. "I'm just here," Sarah says reassuringly, trying to keep him calm. "Help is on the way." Within moments, the paramedics arrive and rush the man out, and Sarah watches as they drive away, feeling a mix of relief and anxiety. The next morning, Sarah walks into the office, her mind still reeling from yesterday's events. As she settles into her desk, she notices Mr. Davis walking towards her with a grim expression. "Sarah," he says curtly, "can you come to my office for a moment?" Her heart sinks. She has no idea what this could be about, but she follows him into his small, sterile office. The blinds are drawn, and the fluorescent lights give the space an almost clinical feel. "Sit down," Mr. Davis says, his tone sharp. Sarah sits, bracing herself for whatever comes next. "I've received multiple complaints about you yesterday," Mr. Davis says, his gaze cold. "Apparently you left the office in the middle of the day without informing anyone. And for what? To help some random guy at a coffee shop?" Sarah feels a rush of heat spread across her face. He was having a medical emergency. I couldn't just ignore him." Mr. Davis scoffs. "You've been with this company long enough to know that personal matters should never interfere with your work. You've let your personal judgment cloud your responsibilities. I can't have someone with such a lack of professionalism on my team. I'm afraid you're going to have to go." Sarah is speechless. The words feel like a slap to the face, but she tries to stay composed. "You're firing me because I helped someone?" Mr. Davis shrugs. "I can't have you putting the company at risk over a stranger. I'm sorry, Sarah. It's over." Sarah stands up, her heart heavy with the realization that not only did she lose her job, but her actions, the very ones she was proud of, had consequences she wasn't prepared for. She leaves the office, stepping into the cold city air. The familiar sounds of traffic and people seem distant as she tries to digest what just happened. Her stomach churns as she fumbles for her phone. Her mother's text message flashes across the screen again. Sarah pockets the phone and starts walking aimlessly, lost in thought. Days pass. Sarah spends countless hours applying for jobs, but nothing seems to stick. The world feels like it's closing in on her. Every rejection email chips away at her self-worth. She tries to stay hopeful, but the sting of losing her job and her sense of purpose weighs heavily on her shoulders. One evening, as she sits alone at her apartment, she scrolls through her phone, looking at the endless string of job postings that seem so disconnected from her true desires. She rubs her eyes, fighting back tears. A knock at the door startles her. She opens it to find a delivery man holding a bouquet of flowers. "Delivery for Sarah Jones," he says with a smile. Sarah's eyes widen. "I didn't order anything." The delivery man shrugs. "Not sure, ma'am. It's from Mahone Enterprises." Sarah's heart skips a beat. She takes the bouquet from him and reads the attached card. "Thank you for your kindness. I hope this small gesture can begin to repay you. Anthony Mahone." Her hand shakes as she reads the name. Anthony Mahone, the man from the coffee shop, the man whose life she had saved. The next day, Sarah decides to take a walk to clear her mind. She heads to the nearby park, trying to process the events of the past week. As she walks along the winding path, she sees someone sitting on a bench, none other than Anthony Mahone. He looks up as she approaches, a warm smile spreading across his face when he recognizes her. "Sarah," he says, "I'm so glad to see you're okay." She stops in her tracks, a mix of surprise and disbelief on her face. "Anthony," she says, a soft smile forming. "What are you doing here?" He stands up, his presence more commanding than she remembers. "I came to thank you properly. What you did for me, well, I owe you my life." Sarah shakes her head. "I just did what anyone would do. I didn't think anything of it." He pauses, looking at her with gratitude in his eyes. "You should have. Not everyone would have acted the same way. But that's not why I'm here. I'm here because I think I can help you." Sarah raises an eyebrow. "Help me? What do you mean?" "I'm Anthony Mahone," he says, and Sarah stares at him, slowly realizing the magnitude of the moment. Anthony Mahone, the CEO of Mahone Enterprises, was offering her a chance to turn things around. As the details unfold, Sarah learns that the company is looking for someone with integrity and creativity, qualities she now realizes Anthony deeply values. And he explains that he needs a marketing director for a new project, someone who isn't just about the bottom line, but someone who truly cares about people. He looks at her with seriousness and adds, "I think that's you, Sarah." Tears well in her eyes as she tries to process this unbelievable offer. A job, not just any job, but one with purpose, one where she could truly make a difference. Sarah takes a deep breath, feeling a surge of hope and disbelief. She had just lost her job, and now here she was, standing in front of a man who seemed to be offering her a fresh start, a second chance she never thought possible. A few days later, Sarah begins working at Mahone Enterprises. The company is nothing like her old job. The office is modern, with glass walls that let in the natural light, and the energy is vibrant, yet professional. Sarah quickly finds herself immersed in the fast-paced environment, but unlike her old job, there's a sense of purpose here. Every day feels different, a welcome change from the soul-sucking routine of her previous work. As she settles in, Anthony takes an active interest in her ideas. He encourages her creativity, not just as an employee, but as a person with unique perspectives. Sarah begins to thrive. She's given more freedom to shape the direction of campaigns, and soon her work catches the attention of others within the company. One late afternoon, Sarah sits in the conference room, working on a new project. She's still getting used to the flow of things, but the team is supportive, and she feels like she's finally in her element. Anthony stops by the door, smiling when he sees her working diligently. "Good work, Sarah," he says with genuine appreciation. "I knew you'd fit in here." Her heart swells. Thank you, Anthony. I really appreciate the chance you've given me. He smiles softly. You earned it. People like you don't come around every day. Your kindness, it made a difference in my life, and I won't forget it. She pauses, letting the weight of his words sink in. As the weeks pass, Sarah and Anthony's professional relationship begins to evolve. They start spending more time together outside of work. They share meals after long days, walk through the city, and talk about their lives, what they've learned, where they're going, and what truly matters. One evening, they attend a gala that Mahone Enterprises is hosting. The night is glamorous, with high society mingling around them. But Sarah feels most at home standing beside Anthony, away from the crowd. There's something deeply reassuring about his presence. The way he listens when she speaks, the way he makes her feel valued, not just for her skills, but for her kindness and integrity. As they sit together sipping champagne, Anthony turns to her with a thoughtful expression. Sarah, he begins, I've been meaning to ask you, how did you stay so positive? After everything that happened, I can't imagine how hard it must have been to start over. She smiles, but it's a bittersweet smile. I don't know if I would call it staying positive, but I think sometimes life gives you a little push. Losing my job, I thought it was the end, but it was just the beginning. I've learned that even when you don't see the way forward, something always comes along to guide you. And I guess that's how I ended up here. Anthony watches her with admiration. You have a rare strength, Sarah, and I'm glad our paths crossed that day. It wasn't just your kindness that saved me. It was your spirit. His words touch something deep within her. Sarah is silent for a moment, looking at the glistening lights of the city skyline. There's a part of her that still can't believe everything that has happened. The pain, the loss, and then the unexpected turn of events that led her to this point. But here, in this moment, she realizes how far she's come, not just professionally, but personally as well. Weeks later, Sarah and Anthony are seated at a cozy restaurant in the city, celebrating a major success, a new marketing campaign that has brought Mahone Enterprises into the spotlight. The company is thriving, and so is Sarah's career. But as they talk and laugh over dinner, there's an undercurrent of something more between them, a growing connection neither can deny. Anthony looks at Sarah, his expression more serious now. Sarah, I've been thinking about this for a while, he begins. You've changed my life in ways I never expected, not just because you saved me that day, but because of who you are, the way you see the world, the way you care. Sarah's heart races. Anthony, Wait, let me finish, he interrupts gently. I know this might seem sudden, but I can't deny the way I feel. I admire you so much, Sarah. Your resilience, your heart, and I think I'm falling for you. The words hit Sarah like a wave. She blinks, trying to absorb the depth of his confession. I didn't expect that, she admits softly, her voice trembling. But I think I'm falling for you too, Anthony. There's a long pause, and then Anthony reaches across the table, taking her hand. His touch is warm, grounding. I want us to be more than just colleagues, Sarah. I want to be with you. Tears fill Sarah's eyes as she squeezes his hand. You've already given me so much, Anthony, but I never thought that we would happen. It feels like a dream. Anthony smiles. Sometimes the best things in life happen when we least expect them. The glow of the sun shines through the floor-to-ceiling windows of Sarah's new office. It's the kind of office she had once only dreamed of, a sleek, modern space filled with natural light and a view of the city skyline. The chaos of the corporate world hums around her, but it feels different now. For once, Sarah doesn't feel lost in it. She feels a sense of ownership, not just over her work, but over her future. Her team gathers around the table, brainstorming the next big campaign. Sarah listens attentively, her confidence growing with every passing day. She has ideas, bold ones, ideas she knows will make a difference, ones that reflect the values that brought her here, the values that got her into this position: integrity, compassion, and creativity. I think we should focus on authenticity this time, she says, looking around at her team. Our customers don't just want products, they want to feel connected to what we're offering. Let's make them feel like they're a part of something bigger, something real. Her colleagues nod in agreement, visibly impressed by her vision. It's clear that Sarah has become an influential leader in the company. She's no longer the shy, uncertain woman who walked into the office months ago. She's become someone people trust, someone whose ideas are shaping the future of Mahone Enterprises. Later that day, as she walks through the office floor, she can't help but feel a sense of pride. It's the culmination of everything she's worked for, the job loss, the moments of doubt, and the leap of faith that led her here. Her phone buzzes. It's a text from Anthony. "Great work today. I'm proud of you, Sarah." She smiles, her heart swelling. He's always been supportive, but now he sees her as a true partner, both professionally and personally. Their relationship has flourished alongside her career. He's been her rock, her confidant, and now their professional lives have merged in a beautiful, symbiotic way. A knock on her office door pulls her from her thoughts. It's one of the senior executives, an older woman named Claudia, who has always been a little aloof, but has started warming to Sarah's ideas. "Sarah," Claudia says with a smile, stepping inside, "I just wanted to let you know how impressed I've been with your work. You've brought a fresh perspective to this company, and it's making a real difference. We've been talking, and we think you're ready for a bigger role. We'd like to offer you the head of marketing position." Sarah's heart skips a beat. She wasn't expecting this. "Claudia, I don't know what to say." "You don't have to say anything," Claudia replies with a knowing smile. "You've earned it." Tears well up in Sarah's eyes as she nods. She thinks of everything she's gone through to get to this moment, the pain, the heartbreak, and the loss of her job. But now, standing on the other side, she realizes that it was all worth it. This is more than just a new position. It's the beginning of a new future, one where she's in control, where she's finally in alignment with her true self. That evening, Sarah sits down with Anthony, telling him about the promotion. "I don't know if I'm ready for this," she admits. "You are," Anthony says without hesitation. "I've seen how you've grown. You've earned every bit of this, and you'll do amazing things." Her heart swells. She knows he's right, but the fear still lingers. She's worked so hard to get here, but what if this success changes her? What if the pressure overwhelms her? Anthony's voice cuts through her thoughts. "Whatever happens, Sarah, remember one thing. You're doing this because you believe in yourself. Don't let anyone, especially yourself, make you doubt that." Months pass, and the impact of Sarah's promotion is felt not only at Mahone Enterprises, but in her personal life as well. She and Anthony grow closer, their relationship evolving from one of professional respect to a deep, undeniable love. They support each other through challenges, both at work and in their personal lives, each moment strengthening the bond they share. One day, Sarah receives an unexpected message from a former colleague, Emily, from her old job. Emily had heard about Sarah's recent success and wanted to reconnect. Over coffee, Emily confesses that she's been struggling. Her new job isn't fulfilling, and she feels lost in the corporate grind. "Sarah," Emily says quietly, "I always admired how you could stay true to yourself. Even when things were hard. I never understood it then, but now I do. I don't know how to find that again." Sarah smiles warmly. She remembers the days when she too felt lost and unsure. But now she's learned that staying true to her values wasn't just a path to professional success. It was the key to everything. It was the reason she had ended up in a place of purpose and fulfillment. "I'm not going to tell you it's easy, Emily," Sarah says gently, "but I will say this. If you keep moving forward, even when you don't know where you're going, you'll find something worth fighting for. It's about aligning what you do with who you are. It takes time, but it's worth it." Emily listens intently, and as Sarah speaks, she can see a flicker of hope return in her friend's eyes. "This is just the beginning, Emily," Sarah adds with a soft smile. "You'll figure it out." Sarah's words are more than just encouragement. They're the embodiment of the journey she's been on. They're a reminder that small moments of kindness and wisdom can have a ripple effect, impacting not just the person they're directed at, but the wider world. A year passes. Sarah and Anthony are now inseparable. They've weathered challenges together, celebrated successes, and supported each other through the ups and downs of life. But it's the little moments, the quiet, intimate ones, that have truly deepened their connection. On the anniversary of the day Sarah saved Anthony, the two of them returned to the park where it all started. The place feels like home now, a symbol of the journey they've taken together. As they walk along the same path where they first met, Sarah looks at Anthony with a sense of peace. She never could have predicted how her life would change that day in the coffee shop. She never could have imagined that a single act of kindness would lead her to this place of happiness, fulfillment, and love. I've been thinking about that day a lot, Sarah says, her voice soft. If I hadn't helped you, I wouldn't be here right now. None of this would have happened. Anthony stops walking and turns to face her, his expression filled with warmth and understanding. And if I hadn't been there that day, you might never have realized just how powerful your kindness truly is. It's what led you here, Sarah. It's what led us here. They share a long, meaningful look before Anthony takes her hand and gives it a gentle squeeze. Sometimes, he continues, we're afraid of taking risks, afraid that we'll lose everything. But what we don't always see is that, by doing the right thing, we can gain more than we ever imagined. Your kindness didn't just change my life, it changed yours too. Tears fill Sarah's eyes as she smiles at him, the weight of his words sinking in. In that moment, she understands more than ever how interconnected everything truly is, how one simple act of compassion can create a ripple that touches every corner of our lives. As the sun sets behind them, casting a warm, golden glow across the horizon, Sarah realizes that the journey she started with uncertainty has led her here, to love, to success, and to a deeper understanding of herself and the world around her. I'm so grateful, Sarah whispers, her heart full. And as they walk hand in hand, side by side, the camera pulls back to show them against the backdrop of the city, full of promise.